Sri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha. Sri Sadguru Paramatmane Namaha. Sarva Maharshibhyo Namaha. The duties of the Kshatriyas are stated. 43rd Sloka. Shauryam tejo dhrutir yuddhe chapya palayanam danam ishvara bhavascha kshatram karma swabhavajam. Substance: prowess, splendor, greatness, firmness, dexterity, not running away in the battle, magnanimity, hardship, commanding and ruling power. These are the functions of Kshatriyas born of their nature. Commentary. Yuddhe chapya palayanam. A true Kshatriya is not expected to fly from field of battle. But an external conflict like war happens only from time to time. The internal struggle between the forces of good and evil, of light and darkness, of the pious and the diabolical is taking place continuously in the heart of every human being. The struggle is continuous and unceasing till final liberation is attained. Every human being needs the dharma of the Kshatriya to remain firm, held, and bold and unyielding in the struggle with evil and ignorance. There should be no backward step, no looking back, no relaxation of effort, and no feeling of defeat and frustration. March onwards is the command till the goal is reached. It is only then that man can attain the rulership of the empire of freedom. So man should strive for the light of the Brahmana and the power of the Kshatriya. Question: what are the functions of the Kshatriyas? Answer: prowess, splendor, greatness, firmness, dexterity, not running away in the battle, magnanimity, lordship, commanding and ruling power. These are the functions of the Kshatriya born of their nature. The functions of the Vaishyas and the Sudras are stated. 44th Sloka. Krushi Goraksha Vanijyam Vaidyam Karma Swabhavajam Paricharyatmakam Karma Sudrasyapi Swabhavajam. Substance: agriculture, cattle rearing and trade are the duties of the Vaishyas, born of their nature. Action consisting of service is the duty of the Sudras. Question: what are the duties of the Vaishyas? Answer: agriculture, cattle rearing, trade. Question: what is the duty of the Sudras? Answer: service. The Lord declares that people following their respective duties acquire the merit of realizing the truth. 45th Sloka. Swe swe karmanyabhirataha samsiddhim labhate naraha swakarmabhinirataha siddhim yatha vindati tachrunu. Substance: each devoted to his own duty, man attains perfection. Engaged in one's own duty, how man attains the highest good, that you should hear. Commentary. Devoted to the duties and functions of his own caste derived from his own nature, and man can attain the highest perfection. How this miracle is achieved is the secret of Karma Yoga. These duties should be performed in the true spirit of surrendering the fruit to the Lord. By performing one's own duties without attachment to the fruits, man releases himself from the binding effects of karma, which is the cause of samsara. Since the majority of men are compelled by their very nature to engage themselves in their respective duties, the best way for such is to continue their work in a spirit of self-surrender to the Lord. By such detached action, the mind is purified and the self is realized. Thus, karma is the way to Atmagnana through the purification of the mind. Question: how does man attain perfection while engaged in his own duty? Answer: by performing his prescribed duties and functions without attachment and in the true spirit of self surrender to the Lord, man attains perfection. The Lord explains how man attains the merit of self realization while engaged in his prescribed duties. 46th Shloka Yatah pravritir bhutanam yena sarvamidham tatam swakarmana tamapyarchya siddhim vindati manavaha. Substance, from whom is the manifestation and evolution of beings, by whom all this is pervaded. Worshipping him by performing one's own duty, man attains perfection. Commentary Yatah pravrittir bhutanam. It is clear that Paramatma is the origin and source of all beings. All beings come from him and return to him. Paramatma is the vital intelligence principle without which insentient Prakriti can do nothing. Therefore, the worship of Paramatma is the highest duty of man, in whom Paramatma is manifesting in the highest degree. Yena sarvam idam tatam. All this is pervaded by the Lord. This declaration is made thrice in the Gita. Paramatma is present everywhere, like cream in milk. He is not seen with the external eye, but to the eye of knowledge. He is visible. He is Sarvasakshi, the seed of everything, because he is present in the innermost core of every being. So, realizing man should be pure in thought and deed and should be devoted to him, who is the origin and source of his very being. Swakarmana tamabhyarcha. The performance of one's own duty is itself the worship of the Lord. This is the excellence of Karma Yoga. The tiller of the field, the worker in the factory, the judge in the court, the minister in the cabinet, the trader, the cobbler, in fact, every man who is engaged in some form of work or other can transform and sublimate that work into worship of the Lord by offering it to Him, the action and its fruits altogether. This very step that He takes, every breath that He breathes, every action that He does becomes worship of the Lord. Such worship automatically purifies the mind because the mind is agitated only when man becomes attached to his work of for selfish ends and by selfish motives. He who can maintain the attitude of detachment and surrender remains restful and lives in peace. Such peace leads to the vision of Paramatma. Of all the methods mentioned to purify the mind, this is the best and most easy to practice. As man is engaged in some of the work, the ideal is to perform it as worship of the Lord, free from fear and anxiety, free from binding egotism and binding selfishness. Thus, karma becomes the means to moksha. Karma binds only when the performer desires to obtain this or that fruit either in this world or in other worlds. Man knows in his heart of hearts that he is attached to work by contemplating the pleasure of enjoying the rewards. This should be given up by the true seeker whose will is set on the realization of ultimate perfection. The Lord declares that man attains perfection by following the principle of detached performance of one's own duty. This verse explains the combination of karma, bhakti, and gnana. Performance of action, karma. Worship of the Lord through action, bhakti. Purification of the mind which brings about self realization, gnana. Question: what is the source of all beings? Answer: Paramatma. Question: by whom is the universe pervaded? Answer: by Paramatma. Question: how can the jiva attain perfection? Answer: if the man performs his prescribed duties in the spirit of the worship of the Lord, surrendering the fruits to him, he gets purification of mind, and when mind is purified, he attains Brahmagnana.